This is genuinely shocking as we have a massive trade update on the Kevin Durant deal that will now turn this trade into a 7-team deal, making it the largest in NBA history and changing the look of this trade to involve Clint Capella. Find out how here in Rockets Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join it here with us. What a massive turn this has taken. Kevin Durant was dealt to the Rockets and was supposed to be a 2-team trade at the time where Kevin Durant would come to the Houston Rockets. In exchange, the Rockets sent back Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, and a load of second-round picks. Well, now they're going to add 5 different teams into this trade potentially, and it would be an absolute monumental trade. It also will involve Clint Capella in a way. We'll tell you how on today's show. But if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're covering the Houston Rockets at a daily occurrence, sometimes even 3 videos a day up until this point now. So if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you get all your Houston Rockets content in one place. Let's go to the backstory of all of this. Now, this is the tweet that Shams Charania had originally involving the Kevin Durant trade, saying the Phoenix Suns are trading 2-time NBA Finals MVP Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for the people that I just mentioned. Green, Brooks, the number 10 pick in this past year's draft now, I guess, and 5 second-round picks. That was the original trade. Now, obviously, that is going to be modified a little bit as we got some reports that basically the Suns and the Rockets were looking for more facilitators in this trade because if you don't know, the trade technically doesn't officially take place until July 6th. It's a whole CBA thing. I've said my piece on the CBA. You know how I feel about it. It's not great. But either way, the deal can't take place until July 6th. So for that reason, it's technically not done yet, and that's why this is possible to add in a couple more of the teams. Now, since then, stuff has happened. The Rockets signed Dorian Finney-Smith to a 4-year, $53 million deal. They also signed Clint Capella to a 3-year, $21.5 million deal. Both of these guys were free agents. Dorian Finney-Smith opted out of his deal with the Lakers because the Lakers were only offering a 2-year extension and got to sign a 4-year deal with the Houston Rockets. Meanwhile, Clint Capella was a free agent. He had no contract, there was no restriction, there was no player team option, he was a free agent, and now he is going to be looped into this trade as a sign and trade kind of little attachment to him. So what exactly are the teams involved? What is this looking like? How exactly are we going to go about this? Well, we have the report from the Athletic's Fred Katz, who had this tweet earlier saying the Rockets and Suns are working on expanding the Kevin Durant trade into a deal that would involve a league record 7 teams. Now, he does add that no trade is imminent because, again, July 6th is that date. So still, when you're watching this video, probably about 3 days away at that point. But there is a couple of things to know about the negotiations going on. Here is the first thing that we know, and that is the teams involved. Fred Katz of The Athletic again saying, quote, other teams involved in the negotiations at this moment include the Atlanta Hawks, Brooklyn Nets, Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, and Minnesota Timberwolves, league sources say. Now, you're looking through these teams, and you're probably asking, oh, man, is LeBron included? Is there going to be some massive guys being put in this? No, that's not going to happen. These are going to be facilitator teams. It's more about the money. And to be quite honest, it's a little bit because of the CBA. It's just there's money to work out. And NBA trades happen like this all the time where it's an original trade between 2 teams. And then when the trade is officially done, it includes a multitude of teams. In fact, the previous league record was 6 teams with Klay Thompson's trade. And then the year prior, there was a 5-team trade with Russell Westbrook involved. So it's not something that we haven't seen before where a team has traded somebody and then that deal has expanded into a wider trade by the time it was actually official. However, being 7 teams isn't actually like crazy amount. Like I don't think that is even remotely what I thought was going to happen. And so what exactly are the details behind this? Well, before we get to that, a little teaser there. It's something to note that the Clint Capella situation will be changed. And here is how it will be. Quote, the Hawks would be sending Clint Capella to the Rockets in what would become a sign and trade, league sources say. Durant would still go to Houston, and the previously reported return for him, including Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green, would still go to Phoenix. As we already know, the number 10 picks was technically the Rockets, but it was Phoenix's pick. Like they made technically the call to Adam Silver when the pick came in. So the trade's going to stay the same, except I don't really know why, and we'll get the full details of it when the trade is actually official on July 6th, but Clint Capella is going to become a sign for the Atlanta Hawks and then trade to the Houston Rockets. I don't know for sure right now who all is included in the trade. I do know that it seems as though it's not going to be like a crazy thing that would update, but when we first reported about this trade expanding, there was a potential for a certain Rocket to be included, and that Rocket is still looking to be traded. As we had this literally yesterday from The Athletic as well, saying the Rockets are continuing to shop Cam Whitmore to find him a new home. Now, obviously, this was after the Rockets had signed Dorian Finney-Smith and thought, okay, instead of trading for Dorian Finney-Smith with Whitmore and Jock Landale, they're just going to keep Whitmore. It seems like they are going to trade him. Could he be involved in this trade? That's the question that I think I'm asking in some ways, because, I mean, I guess that's a possibility, but at the same time, I don't think it's like a real thing that is going to be considerable, because the Rockets have expressed interest saying if they trade Cam Whitmore, probably rather win, they want player assets with him. They don't want picks. They want player assets, and that if they had to trade him for picks, it would be a severe letdown, which is fair. I think Cam is a very high-value guy, and to be quite honest, we had a report on him yesterday and had this whole thing and talked about, why is he getting traded? What's the point? What are the Rockets even thinking? To me, I think it's quite simple at this point. He is not the greatest defensive player when it comes to, being on a basketball court. And Ime Udoka has consistently preached wanting this to be a defensive team. And I think there's just a divide right now between Cam Whitmore. There also is the point that technically he was supposed to be a top 10 pick and he dropped to like the 20th, and because of injury, because of whatever, I don't know. But there is just certain odysseys, or whatever you want to call it, certain kind of abnormalities, I guess is the better word to say, that come with Cam Whitmore that maybe can be a little bit of an explanation to why the Rockets are so insistent on trading him. And so the big question everybody's asking is, does this change the trade? Like, what exactly does this do? Well, that's where I kind of have to let you down. Because as of right now, from Fred Katz of The Athletic, he says, in the latest iterations of the deal discussed so far, most of the recognizable names in this deal are not really trades that are going to happen again. They're trades that have already been agreed upon and reported, but just not finalized yet. So if there is other trades across the league that you've heard about, I mean, I can't think of some off my head just because I've been kind of so locked in on the Rockets right now that there's, I guess you can think about the Cam Johnson trade. You could think about, I guess trading with the Lakers, because DeAndre Ayton wasn't a trade. The Hawks made a couple of trades. Kristaps Porzingis was on a trade. So, I mean, there's a potential that those trades that were made prior to this that are also going to become official on July 6th could be looped into this one. So, it kind of is a really boring climax, because you get to the end of the story and it's like, okay, so nothing really changes, right? Yep, that's kind of the report, because the final thing here, only 5 players who were in the NBA last season are being discussed in the current iteration of the trade. Those 5 players as of now are Kevin Durant, Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, Clint Capella, and Daquan Plowden. Now, obviously, we knew about Green and Brooks and Durant in the trade already. Clint Capella, just told you, it's going to be a sign-and trade. And league sources are saying all this, that the rest of the players are being discussed. They're all from already agreed-upon draft night trades that have yet to be finalized, because they can't be until July 6th, which is still the dumbest thing to me. Why? It was a trade that happened before the NBA draft. Why in the world is it being finalized on July 6th? This is why is that a thing? That makes zero sense. Whatever. Maybe I'm just not going to get on my soapbox, because I could spend a whole hour sitting here talking to you why the NBA has certain things that really I'm not going to say attribute to the maybe the lower ratings in the regular season, because, frankly, it's 82 games. It's a lot of game to watch. But I would say certainly attribute to, certain things that could easily be fixed. Hence, why in the world is a trade that was produced in June getting finalized in July and having teams added? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just the one who's out of line here, and it's a normal thing for the rest of you. But I just, every year this happens, I question everything about the NBA and why we can't just have a normal trade. Why can't that just be a thing? It happens in the NFL, it happens in the MLB, in NHL, every other major league, it happens pretty normally. So, whatever. But yeah, not really much here. So, kind of, I guess, sorry to let you down. There's not really a huge name to talk about. It's just wild. 7 teams for this. The big thing is Clint Capella becomes a sign-and trade, which in all reality doesn't affect the Rockets too much. this is going to be the same amount of money that the Rockets signed him for. It's just going to be traded to them, which in case, I mean, again, that affects certain money because there's certain, again, it's the NBA and the CBA. There are certain rules to how much money you have to send out and then return to make the deal happen, and that's why this is all becoming a thing. So, either way, that's what we got for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Anything you can think about this. I'm kind of curious to think. 7 teams. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, we'll see you next time here on Rockets Digest. If you made it to the end of the video, you are a real one, especially to this one, because this was a doozy. It's just a weird trade to talk about. But either way, we appreciate every single one of you, and we'll see you next time here on Rockets Digest. Peace out, guys.